So we're back, I think. Um, okay, now can you hear me? Can you see my screen? We have started the lecture.
Yes, yes, we can.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
I can
yes.
hear you.
Okay, now we are okay because I had shut off my, my device here. That's why I could not hear you people. Thank you. All right. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Sarvam Shri Krishna Paramastu. So we are talking about Upadana Karanatva. There was a reason for me to talk to you about this. I wanted to give you the taste of how the Brahma Sutrakaras deal with the subject, how Vishishtadvaita and other Vedantins try to deal with the subject. The subject seems to be very simple in some ways, and we will see whether they are simple or not. But let's assume that it's very simple, and we'll go further and figure out whether it's simple or not. Okay. What is the purpose of the study of this Upadana Karanatva? To promote deeper thinking and not just superficial views. We need to understand the rules by which the Vedantins play the game. And we, as followers of Vedanta, cannot flout the rules, cannot disregard these rules. We have to figure out how to work within the framework. And what is the framework? We'll figure out what it is. The framework is our views should be supported by Veda and Upanishad Vakyas, fundamentally. Then the other Prasthanatrayas, Brahma Sutras, and Bhagavad Gita. So we have to be in sync and in accordance with these scriptures, because we are talking about something which is suprasensual, suprasensory. So we ourselves, with our rational thinking, we cannot make claims or clear declarations on these subjects. That's why we have to be in accordance with these Shruti Vakyas. I took this mostly out of Satya Siddhi because Harvankasha is very, very deep and very wide, in the sense that there are like 50 pages of analysis on Upadana Karanatva, and that is very difficult to deal with in this class. I wanted to give you a very summary overview. I took a small portion of it, even that I didn't expand it from the Satya Siddhi document, which Sri Kesvi has written. So we have to thank Sri Kesvi for writing such a small summary. And the main idea about Sarvankasha is not to resort to, oh, my Acharya's view is better than your Acharya's views. Obviously, how can my Acharya be wrong? This kind of a view, it may be good, it may show Acharya Bhakti for some people, and it will lead into fanaticism, because this attitude will not even percolate into our next generation, because our own children will ask, why are you believing this? Oh yeah, my Acharya said so. That doesn't look reasonable to me. Why should I believe? If they say, what will you say? So we have to bring in the idea of some kind of analysis to the next generation. Our views should also be well tested by rational thinking, using rational thinking as well as Shruti thinking, right? So that's what we need to do. Second thing is, without depth, fanatic views will not get transmitted to the next generation. They will reject all these views. You already know how the next generation may not be what you expect them to be. So if you promote a deeper analysis to our next generation, a deeper sense of conviction, this will go a long way. It is like you have to build temples of understanding, just not temples of stone and archamurtis. You have to go beyond it. Sri Krishna has very clearly said, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate tatsvayam yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindati. This particular verse was very well explained to me by Sri KSV. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. There is nothing equivalent to jnana here in this universe. Jnana means clear understanding, and jnana is something beyond. It is not textbook knowledge. It is something beyond textbook knowledge. It is realization knowledge. Tat swayam yoga samsiddha. Sri Krishna did not say, after going to the library and by hearting every shloka and every shastra on earth, Tat swayam yoga samsiddha. You will know that jnana by doing some kind of yoga, and once you are realized in that yoga, you will get that jnana, which is that jnana is realization jnana, actual realization of Paramatma, Jivatma, and everything. Kalena, that comes not just immediately, after a long time. Kalena, where will you get that jnana? Where will you find that jnana? Sri KSV said, not inside going to this temple, that temple, to Himalayas, to this Puri, Jagannath, this one, Kaveri, and what do you call Setu Darshanam, and all these things. The pilgrimages may help you eventually. Pilgrimage is also Karma Yoga that may eventually give you. But Kalena Atmani Vindate, right within you, you find that realization. Don't go too far. Jivatma, Paramatma are both hiding in your heart. Find that realization. Only by finding that realization, you will understand in-depth knowledge, not by Shastra alone. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo na medhayana bahuna shrutena. Very clearly, the Kathopanishad says, this Atma Jnana is not by just listening to Upanishams, talking and teaching Upanishams, or intelligent thinking, analysis. None of this will help. Some kind of sadhana, bhakti prapatti, whatever our Acharyas have guided, they are very important. And that also may mature over time. Immediately, you may not get the benefit. It may take some time. So the problem specification. Let us take what this Upadana Karanatva problem is. We'll try to understand. So we have to establish the position using Vedantic position, not other sources. You cannot just give some weird source. You have to get a Vedantic source. 1 second, please. Let me get to the point quickly, hopefully. Look at what is the definition of Brahman. Brahman is made of pure jnana, prajnanam brahma. That is a verse in the Upanishads, right? Pure consciousness. Jnana is not matter, it is consciousness. The question immediately pops up. If that Brahman is the cause of this universe, if he is the material cause of this universe, how can the rocks come out of pure prajnana swarupa, jnana swarupa? If he is pure jnana swarupa, out of that jnana swarupa, how can rocks come out? Where were these rocks? Hiding inside the prajnana swarupa, jnana swarupa? Rocks are insentient. They don't have knowledge. Jada. How did it pop up? This is the ancient question. This is the question in the Upanishads. The questions our rishis have asked for thousands of years and found their own answers. The whole universe seems to be made of rocks and gases. The huge stars may be gases in them, and the rocks are the rest of the solidified universe. Which part of prajnana these rocks came from? So some portion of the prajnana became rocks, morphed into rocks, because The Upanishads say, Atma Kratehe Parinamat Swayamatmanam Tadatmanam Swayamakuruta. He himself became this universe. Bahusyam. I became many. What is this I? Which denotes Brahman here. If he is pure prajnana, where are these rocks hiding? Have you seen a single entity in this universe which is both a nimitta karana and upadana karana? We already talked about it. Just for clarity, I'm telling to others. In the case of a pot being created in a pottery, a potter comes with his instruments, uses a lump of clay, and does some processes to create a pot. The potter is known as the nimitta karana, or the efficient cause. The lump of clay is the material cause. Have you seen in any example, can you give me, where the nimitta karana, the potter, and the lump of clay is one and the same? They're usually different. They're not same. But in the case of in this universe, what we say is this universe was caused by Brahman, and this Brahman willed to be many, and he became this universe. This is what our Upanishad shlokas say, or the verses in the Upanishads. That's what they say. So we have to understand based on the Upanishads and justify our Siddhanta and understand the true nature of our Siddhanta. That is the whole exercise here. If Brahman is the material cause of this universe, is Brahman or a portion of Brahman made out of rocks, and which came out and which became big and became this universe with so many rocks in it? Are there achetana portions, that is non-conscious portions within Brahman? And if you define Brahman as prajnana, how can a not conscious entity be hiding inside this Brahman? So you're getting the point slowly that there is a problem. Vedantins do not agree that Brahman has portions of achetana or jadavastu in it. But Vedantins say Brahman is pure consciousness, no taking back of that. No withdrawal from that position. If so, we still have a problem. Then how is this upadana, material causality, possible? Particularly for Vishishtadvaitins. Each Vedantin finds their own view. For example, Dvaitins don't even accept that Brahman is material cause. They think that Prakriti is a material cause. They walk away from this problem easily. For Vishishtadvaitin, Brahman is abhinna nimitta upadana karana, that is undifferentiated. He is also the nimitta karana, he is also the upadana karana, both material and efficient cause. Here, one quick question for you. Are Sankhya and Yoga people Vaidika people or Avaidika people? Are they anti-Vedic or Vaidika people? Any answer? Quick answer?
Avaidika.
What?
Avaidika.
No. Sankhya and Yoga people both are Vaidika people. I just wanted to make sure. Many people may not know about it. They believe in the Vedas.
But they do classification, no sir, in the system. Sankhya philosophers, they do the classification. Sankhya philosophy is based on classification, no sir.
It's based on classification, but Sankhya has their own versions of the explanations of the Upanishads. They believe in the Vedas. Yoga
I'm sorry, I was confused. Was Sankhya started by Kapila Maharshi? So it has to be Vedic, right?
It's Vedic, exactly. Kapilam, Risham, Puranam, something, there is a Kapilam, there is some verse, Vedic verse, which mentions Kapila.
Yeah. Bhagavatam clearly states Sankhya was started by Kapila Maharshi.
Yeah. So the thing is, these are also Vedic philosophies. Sankhya, Yoga, these are Purva Pakshas taken in the Brahma Sutras. And so they have a different view on this Brahman. Sankhya and Yoga people do not accept material causality of Brahman. Both say Prakriti is material cause and Brahman is only the Nimitta Karana. Even the Pashupata Mata accepts only Nimitta Karanatva. There is some small problem there. There is Upadana Nimitta. There is some kind of a complex view in Pashupata that we don't have to worry about at this point. So this universe which has resulted here, we know that a rock sitting is still a rock for the last 10,000 years, or maybe more. So from such pure jnana, this insentient universe, portion of the universe is also resulted. In our theory of cause and effects, what we have found is if you look at a golden ornament, like a necklace or a bangle or anything like that, they're all made out of gold. They're not made of a lump of clay. Similarly, if you look at a pot or a bowl made of clay, they come from clay. So what is the nature of Brahman? Brahman is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Anandam also is Brahma. Brahma Swarupa, we define Brahman as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Anandam. Nirmalam, blemishless. So his nature is pure. Jnanam. And Anandam. Anandam is full of bliss. He is not limited. His bliss is always full. He does not have sorrow, sadness, anything like that. He is blemishless. So it's pure consciousness, pure jnanam. And such a pure jnanam is the cause of this universe, which has a lot of insentient elements in it. Now let us, in the sutras, you come across this explanations that is in the Bhashyas. Go mayat vrishchikotpatihi, like scorpions coming out of cow dung. If you look at this left bottom picture here, you see a small dung beetle larva inside the cow dung. Thanks for this iStop photo. They have figured it out. See, that doesn't mean that the cow dung is causing this particular one to come out. The worm was there in some larva form or some form inside the cow dung. Maybe the cow ate something up, or somehow some impurities went and got mixed up in the cow dung, and such a particular small worm got in there, and that can become a scorpion eventually. It could be a scorpion. Here, this may not be an example of the scorpion, but I did not get an example like how scorpion is hiding inside the cow dung. So what this example is given as a different kind of effect can come from different kind of source. The cause, which is cow dung, is giving rise to this larvae. But actually, that's not the truth. The eggs are giving out of the larvae, but they have given almost an erroneous example in these places. We can argue about it. How can error come into all these places? But there is an error according to me. I have not found a good answer to it. Okay. All I can see out of this example is a different kind of effect can come from a different kind of cause. Let's take only the summary of it. We don't have to worry about the exact example. Is it right or wrong? Maybe it's wrong. It doesn't matter. Similarly, cobwebs come from the spider. These cobwebs are not living entities. They are just a net. It's just threads coming out of this spider. So a non-living entity is coming from a living entity. So a totally different output, totally different effect can be there coming out of a cause which is very different, which is living. Similarly, Sri Kesvi gave me this example. He likes this example a lot. If you break out a cell, like a dry cell battery, You get a lot of black, cathode graphite rods, a lot of carbon and some paste made out of some chemicals like NH4CI carbon and all MnO2. All these chemicals are put into a form of a paste, and you connect with a wire from here to there and put a bulb here, a tungsten bulb. It is bright, and you get white light out of it. Not white light, it's just light out of it, bright light. So this light was not there in the cause. A new element called the light comes out of the cause, because that light was hidden inside the original cause in a different form, like a form of a chemical energy or something, which got converted into electrical energy and eventually light energy, which is different. Similarly, the cause may be different from the effect. So the effects like the rocks and other things can come out of very different kind of cause. These are some examples to say that Brahman, who is pure Jnanam, can give rise to insentient entities also. But do we understand this? Mentally, if you picturize, how does Brahman work? How do rocks come out of Brahman? It is not so easily understandable. From pure consciousness, how does it come? Here, the cobweb example, even here we can say from the body of that spider, the cobwebs came not from the Jivatma. Well, how is this Jivatma related to the body? It is a very complex relationship. It's not so easy. Oh, Sharira, 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 Sharira. Everybody are happy just using some terminology. They're not going deep and trying to understand what the problem is. Like children. Not that I understand it. I'm also a child, by the way, smaller child compared to all of you. So what Sri Kesvi used to tell me is, a little kid used to bother the parents. When the parents were happily listening to M.S. Subbulakshmi's music on television, they were completely absorbed in the swaras and the beautiful tune. And the little kid always came and said, how did this M.S. Subbulakshmi go and sit inside the television? The kid asked. And the father is very upset. He just wants to listen to it. At the end of the day, he wants to have some fun with music. But this kid is not going to leave. He says, don't worry, look at the wire behind the television. There's a wire, right? Through the wire, M.S. Subbulakshmi went inside and got inside the TV, and now she is singing inside the TV. The kid was very happy. Oh, is that so? Through the wire. Very good. And the kids started playing. What are we doing? We are doing the same thing. Shariri, Shariri, Baba, very simple. What exactly is that? How is this consciousness stuck in this body? How is it making this body live and support it? Is it like a symbiosis? This is a very complex problem. We don't know the answer very clearly to it. We just use it roughly. So the essence of this whole slide is, an effect can be dissimilar to the cause. This is what the Brahma Sutra say. Okay, let's take so what happens is, Brahman is Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam. Satyam is existence. Jnanam is made of consciousness, Jnanam. Anandam is blissful. What happens to Jiva? Jiva loses one of them. The eternal Ananda in Brahman is lost. This Jiva becomes stuck in sadness, difficult situations, and all. So all the Jiva has is Satyam and Jnanam. Is conscious, it exists. Similarly, Jada, or the Jada is insentient entity like rock. All it does, it exists, but it's not conscious. So such an effect is coming out of the universe. But here there is also a distinct view Sri Kesvi mentions. There is also something known as Bhoktra Jiva and Bhogya Jiva. So in the Upanishads, the term used in the Shvetashvatara is Bhokta Bhogyam Preritaram Cha Matva. What is Bhogya? What is Bhokta. Bhokta is the enjoyer, Jiva. Jiva who is stuck in matter, but he experiences matter. Bhogya is the matter, but it's also the body. Our own body is a bhogya. It's enjoyed by the experiencer within. What does it mean? Our body is live. Each and every cells here inside our body, they're living. They die maybe after some time, but they don't have an individuality of its own. They're not stuck in a way. They're only supporting another Bhoktru Jiva. So even though this body is conscious in a way, because there are so many red blood corpuscles and that neurons, everything, they are alive. But they don't have a distinct experience of their own, but they're supporting the experience of the one person sitting inside this body, that is me. So that also becomes Bhogya. So now you see the complexity of the body Jiva relationship. So Bhogya Jiva, or what is the Sharira, right? The Sharira is Bhogya Jiva. It is live. That only gives Nama Rupa Matra Prayojaka. It only gives me, looking at my body, people say, oh, this is Krishna Kashyap. So it gives me a name called Krishna Kashyap. Form is obvious. So it gives this Jiva, which is not understandable, not realizable, a name and a form. So this Sharira is only giving me an identity. Bhoktru Jiva is the experiencer, that the Jivatma within my body, that is the experiencer. So, Karana and Karya we are talking about in this universe, that is a cause, Brahman and the Karya. Both are Brahman. Brahman is the cause, Brahman is also the Karya. It has different effects. So rocks, what we see here today, could be in a form of high energy or something in a previous, maybe in the early part of the universe, where after the Big Bang, only after a few seconds, it could be completely gaseous and energy form. And prior to all those things, there may be a Jnana form hidden in Brahman. That is what our Shastras say, but not the science. Science doesn't talk about Brahman. Science talks from a point where this physical universe came into being. So what we say is, because the effect and cause can be different, Brahman being pure Jnana can also cause this insentient universe also. So what are the other problems in the Vedanta? See, when you try to make sense out of Vedanta, since you're not the only person making sense, the Advaitins also making sense out of them. Vishishtadvaitins, Dvaitins, and so many other types of Vedantins are also trying to make sense out of Vedanta. Apitau tadvat prasangat asamanjasam. There is a Purapaksha raised in the Brahma Sutra. When the Laya occurs, Laya means everything goes back. Remember the Taittiriya Upanishad shlokas? One second.
Yatavacho.
Huh?
Yatavacho. Sorry.
That is a different one.
No,
Ito va imani bhuta nijayante ye najata nijivanti yat
Asadva idamagra asit.
What did you say?
Asadva idamagra asit.
That is a different one. I'm just trying to say a particular one which is of use here. Asadva idamagra asit also is correct. If this yato va imani bhuta nijayante is a very critical verse for the Brahma Sutras in the initial portion. What is that? Janmadhyasyataha. The verse Janmadhyasyataha quotes this Vishayavakya. Yato va imani bhuta nijayante ye najata nijivanti yat prajantya samvishanti ti tadvijijñāsasva. That is Brahman. Know that is Brahman, from where all these beings came to existence, were created. And all these beings are maintained. As we are just talking now, the hearts are beating and the blood is flowing in our body. All these things are being maintained by that Brahman. Yena jatani jivanti, yat prayanti abhisambhishanti iti. And afterwards, all these jivas go and dissolve into the Brahman. Yet prayanti abhi sam vishanti. Prayanti means it goes with prakarshena gachanti. They go in speed, go with speed. Abhi, towards the Brahman. Sam vishanti, they completely merge into him. Sam vishanti means they enter into him. Merge, girj, and all are words. We don't know what exactly happens. Who has seen Jiva completely being inside Brahman? Has anyone of us seen? We are all just talking, using words. The real truth is not experienced. So, apitav tattvat prasangat asamanjasam, what this sutra says is, if rocks go and become merged into Brahman, Brahman will become a rock eventually. So, if Brahman will lose his consciousness, so that we cannot accept the upadana karanatva or material causality. That's what the sutra says. For that, this is the Purvapaksha, prima facie. In the Shankara Bhashya, what they say is, no problem. The shapes, everything, the shape of the object, the rock, the nature of the rock, the hardness, and all those things, these are attributes. These attributes only lie in this effect. But in the Karana, there are no attributes. Nirvishesha Brahma. So, all these attributes are false or unreal. They will go away, like mithya. So Shankara Bhashya deals with this problem in a different way. Because they have to keep the purity of Brahman, right? So Shankara Bhashya is not irrational or illogical, as many people may think. He solved a problem using a different solution, that's all. Ramanuja Bhashya uses a slightly different view here, like how the old age, diseases, balatva, yuvatva, youth, child phase, youth, old age, all these do not affect the jivatma inside. They only affect the body. Like that, the effects affect only the jiva and jada. And when they are into the karana, that is, they are taken inside, dissolved into the karana, those effects don't affect. So Ramanuja Acharya assumes a Sharira Shariri Bhava. That is, the Jiva and Jada are the Sharira of Brahman. How is the Sharira Shariri related? You may just say roughly like our body and our Jivatma. But in reality, how are they related? Can we experience that relationship? Can we understand that relationship? Here, if I have a flame, if I touch, I know that, oh, flame is hot. In that way, do we experience the relationship between Jiva, Jada, and Paramatma? No. We're just talking, plain talk using textbooks. Again, some other corollaries come. Oh, if Brahman has a Sharira, he also has Ajnana. Since our body has given us Ajnana, he should also have Ajnana. Then, no. Brahman does not have Karmakrita Sharira like us, so he does not have Ajnana. That is solved. That is not an issue. So Ramanujacharya uses a difficult way of solving this problem. Shankaracharya solves it in a simpler way, in a way, right? He just says, it's unreal. They are at a different level of reality. You can completely, there is nothing will affect Brahman. So he took it in a different way.
So Krishna, one moment. In that previous slide, when you talked about Shankara Bhashya, is that referring to that Brahma Vivartavada of Shankara?
This is Vivartavada. Yes, Brahma Vivartavada.
So why can't the Vishishtadvaita agree to the Brahma Vivartavada? That is simpler, alva.
Good question. You should ask this question to Ramanujacharya, not me.
Okay, I'll keep quiet.
So, by the way,
I have another question.
yes.
In Narayana Valli, Maharana Upanishad, there is a that is Surya Chandramato Data Yatha Purvam Akalpayat Divancha Prithivin Chantarikchamato Suvaha.
Correct. Yes, Amma.
So by Sankalpam, everything came out. Everything was, everything was there. That's all he says.
See, that is one view. Sankalp. See, we have to take the essence of several Upanishadic statements and make a meaning out of it, right? Whatever you mentioned about Yatha Data Papurbo, that is basically like how the previous Kalpa, Brahman created using his Sankalpa, just like as the previous Kalpa, similar to the previous Kalpa, he created the new Kalpa. Okay?
Correct. Yeah.
So he created the Brahma, Indra, Varuna, Rudra, all those people from the past. Here, this time. That is one view. That is Sankalpa based. That only tells you the Nimitta Karanatva. But there are other statements which says Bahusyam, I became many.
Correct. Combined with that, then it implies Nimitta Karana, Upadana Karana is Brahma.
Both. Yes, both. But what it is since we don't have a similar example in the world, that the same Nimitta Karana being the Upadana Karana is not present anywhere. Very hard. Right? Some people say some weird examples are given. If I eat a sweet, the eating, I am the Nimitta Karana and I am also the Upadana Karana. I am the cause of my happiness because I ate the sweet, I got the sweet taste. So I am the enjoyer and also the creator of that action, that whole process. So there's different reasons are given, different views are given. They are not very good examples.
Krishna, that is not a good example. The Upadana Karana there could be besan and sugar and stuff like that, ghee and
exactly.
Like that.
So the thing is, there is no good example which says where the Upadana Karana and Nimitta Karana are the one and the same. That's what our Shastras say. And that's what so what we are saying is we are loosely accepting everything without going into that depth. We just say, oh, okay, Ramanuja Acharya said, oh, he's a great person. Oh, this person is a great Vedantic. I will accept. That's about it, what we are doing. Nothing more than that.
Sir, but in hello, sir, but in Ishopanishad, first sloka clearly tells there is only one Brahman. They says no, sir. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Last leftover is only one Brahman.
That is true. That is also
that is the first sloka itself. Clearly, in the Ishopanishad is clearly telling point in the very first sloka only. He says, see, whatever is a idam adam, Brahman is only like one. He is saying, no, sir. So, he's saying Brahman is only one. He is saying, no, sir.
See, how do you explain that's exactly Brahman is one. How do you explain the variety? And variety has so many different nature, insentient nature in this universe. Brahman is one. So is he insentient or sentient? What does it mean? You're actually opening up the answer I'm looking for eventually. But the thing is, I'm not going to give that answer out right now. That is a puzzle till the end of this class. So, Purnamadaha, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnameva Avashishyate, it says. Brahman is full, complete. This universe is full. This full universe came out of that Purna. But that Purna remains Purna even after creating it. What is this? It is a mystery. It is not, we don't have an equivalent to it. We just are explaining using different words given by the Shastras. That's it. So in other words, this Brahman is not just by saying some terminology, saying Sukshma Charitit Vishishtam, Stula Charitit Vishishtam, that is and all. We don't understand it. There are terms given to give some ideas to us. But in depth, the reality, what that is, we don't understand. Let me tell you why. Let's go further. Here comes another set of problems. The Upanishads clearly mention that there is one cause, just like how you mentioned. Sadeva Somya Idamagra Asiti Ekameva Dvitiyam. One only existed without a second. That is all this multiplicity, what you see. There were all at the beginning only one, without a second. That's one Shruti says that. Atma Brahmava idamekaveva agra asit. It says Brahma. Atmava idamekaveva agra asit. It says that. So there are several statements. Why are those so many different statements? Atma was there in the beginning. Brahma was there in the beginning. Asatva idamagra asit. That's also a statement. Tato vai sadajayata. After Sat came into being.
But there's also another vakyam in, I forgot the suktam, but it says, there was neither Sat nor Asat at the beginning. Asadi Suktam, yeah. Asadasin, no Sadasi, Tadani.
That is a wonderful sutta, which says that the causal state cannot be explained. Was it there? Was it not there? So Anga Veda, Yadivana Veda. If at all it is known to the Vedas, maybe he he does not know that too. The Veda
Yeah,
Purusha.
at the end it says he does not know it either. I agree.
So what is it saying means the causal state is, I will not say anything, I will just leave it at this. I will come back again here. There's a wonderful shloka you mentioned. Nama Rupa Vibhaga Anarham is said to the causal state. There is no name and form separation. That's what Ramanujacharya says. Ramanujacharya again says in the Sri Bhashya, Swasmadapi Swasharirataya Pratak Pratipati Anarhatvat. That means even Brahman does not know the difference between himself and the Sharira in the causal state. So the difference between Sharira, Shariri, separation cannot be made in the causal state. It is made only in the causative state or the effect state, where we see there are some Jivatmas, there are the Antaryami of Jivatmas is Parabrahman, like the trees and the rocks and everything is there. Their Antaryami is also Parabrahman. So we make these differences as Antaryami and what is Sharira and Shariri. All these we make it in the created state. In the before creation state, there is absolutely no difference, homogeneous one, Savishesha Vastu, which cannot be explained, is there. What is that? Is it a chemical combination? What is it? What is inside there? We don't know. Even Brahman cannot differentiate it, Sharira and Shariri in the causal state. That's what it says. So, again, I will bring you one more point of view from the Upanishads, because we have to make sense out of diverse Upanishads. It says that Upahara darshanatiti chet na khiravadhi, Upasamhara darshanatiti chet na khiravadhi. There, they talk about Brahman and the universe like Shire Sarpiriva, like how the yogurt or what they call in Tamil, Taire. The Taire exists in the milk.
Yeah, actually, in the Siddhantam, they say,
Karanda palum neyye pola.
Correct. Karanda palum neyyum pola.
Oh, exactly. Alvar said wonderfully. So the relationship is much more complicated. There is some transformation from the cause to the effect, obviously. Do we ascribe transformation, changes to Brahman? Can change be ascribed to Brahman? This is the biggest problem Shrikesh raises in the Sarvankasha and all these places. And note very clearly that should not Rajju Sarpa. The Upanishads and even the Brahma Sutra, they don't talk about the snake rope illusion. They talk about Khire Sarpiripa, like how the yogurt in the milk. Sarpi is actually the Tair or more. Tileshu Tailam Dadhiniva Sarpaha, Dadhiniva Sarpihi, they say. Tileshu Tailam, like how Tila is the yeld in the yeld with the mustard, no?
Sesame seeds.
Sesame seeds. So sesame, like how the oil is in the sesame seed, and like how the ghee, that is the more tair or yogurt is in the milk. How do we Sarvantaryami this person is, and how he separate himself from this universe, which is him. He himself is the universe. In that Ramanujacharya's view there, according to Rangaramanuja Bahusyam, is, O Shvetaketu, you are that Ishvara. So you are nothing but that Ishvara qualified by this Jivatma. So they directly ascribe Brahman to this affected universe. That is, the universe also is Brahman. But still the question comes, how is Sharira and Shariri are one and the same in the Karana Dasha? And can it be different in the Karana Dasha? Now we talk about difference, right? Even in this whole of second chapter, Bhagavad Gita is dedicated to saying Jiva and Sharira are different. I'm wearing, like how I throw away my old clothes and wear new clothes. I throw away this old body at death and I get a new body. So we talk about the difference between the Sharira and Shariri. The Jiva and Sharira are different. And if it is so different, what about in the causal state? They don't accept any difference. What is this causal state then? Do we understand this causal state? It's a mystery, mystery, mystery everywhere. On top of that, we have some more monkey wrenches thrown into our end to understand, because our mind seems to be too good to understand everything, right? So there are more problems to face here. Krishna Prasakti Adhikarana. What does it mean? Not all Brahman transforms into this universe. Only a portion transforms. At the main, the Brahman stays back as the Karana. So in the Vaikuntha, he doesn't empty Vaikuntha and become this universe. He's still there sitting in the Vaikuntha. The cause remains. How can this be explained in a simple example of the clay and the bowl or a pot? A lump of clay.
That is the beginning of the Purusha Sukta, right? Sahasra Shirsha. It says, not beginning, but it says, Tripadu Udait Purushaha.
Yeah. Tripadas Yamritam Divi, right? 3/4 is up there, and only 1/4 is here. So the thing is, Brahman, after creation, after transforming himself into this creation, Bahusyam, I became many. Having become many, he still retains himself. But in the case of a real example, like how a lump of clay transforms itself into a pot, once it transforms into a pot, where is the lump of the clay? It is already transformed. You can't find it here. So no ordinary object in this world can explain Brahman properly. Brahman is not explicable. There is no equivalent to Brahman, hence you cannot give examples to explain Brahman. Examples are only for satisfying our, intellect, just for now. Sakala itara vilakshana, this is the word used by Ramanujacharya often. Brahman is different from all the entities we know. Hence, all the analogies to explain Brahman fail miserably. So, with this, what is the summary? I want you to think about it and tell me, what is the nature of Brahman?
Inexplicable.
What?
Inexplicable.
Exactly. It is beyond our conception. It is a singularity.
Anirvachaniya.
We don't call it Anirvachaniya because there are so many words which explain Brahman. It is not completely knowable. Yet viditat adhi, like how the Kena Upanishad says. It is more than what you think you know.
That's what the Saitri Upanishad also says. Edo vacho nivartante prapya manasasa.
Exactly. Edo vacho nivartante. We have some conception of Brahman, but not a complete conception. We don't understand.
Krishna, that vachana, yato vacho, it comes at the end of Anandavalli, where it talks about the Ananda of various sentient beings, the levels of sentient beings and all that stuff. So is it talking about the Ananda of Brahman being unexplainable or the nature of
that is one aspect of it. That's one aspect of it. In fact, Brahman himself, Brahman as an entity is not very easily explicable. It is, we can only say some rough ideas about Brahman.
Yeah, everything about Brahman, including the gunas, because we are Savishesha Brahma.
Savishesha Brahma.
Yeah.
So
everything,
we can say some things about Brahman, not a lot. Tat vidita yasya matam tasya matam madam yasya navedasaha. That is Kena Upanishad. Yasya amatam, a person who says, I don't have a very good idea of Brahman, he knows it. If he says, oh, this is exactly what Brahman is, if it becomes so clear as, oh, I know what Brahman is. I went and took a master's degree in Vishtadvaita. I even completed the PhD thesis on Vishtadvaita. I know Brahman. That means he does not know Brahman. Yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya navedasaha. Dabhrameva vethatvam brahmana rupam. What can be so clear? It's so clear in the Kena Upanishad. Dabhram, what you know about Brahman is very little, minute speck, a crap. Dabhrameva vethatvam brahmana rupam. That's what Upanishad says. That is why Ramanujacharya says, he just doesn't say, oh, Suprachidachit vastu Sharira Paramatma, Stula Chidachit vastu Sharira Bhavati. Simple example, and you walk away. He doesn't walk away that way. Ramanujacharya says in the Vedartha Sangraha, Ekatve sati nanatvam, nanatve sati ekata, achintyo brahmano rupam kastad veditum arhati. Says, being one, he is multiple. Being multiple, he is one. Ekatve sati nanatvam, nanatve sati ekata, achintyo brahmano rupam. Brahman's rupam, the nature of Brahman is not thinkable. It is beyond our thought. Kastad veditum arhati. How can we, who can know it? Brahman is a singularity, like 1 by 0. 1 by 0 mathematically cannot be explained. Similarly, Brahman is not explicable, not understandable clearly. So simple sentences such as Sukshma Chidachit, Stula Chidachit are not in-depth representations. They're just vague, rough views.
I think that is why the Nasadeva Suktam is extremely.
That is one of the best suktas ever.
Yeah.
And that too, it was not in later sukta. It was in the Rig Veda. So
Yeah,
it was 4,500 years back.
Correct. It's considered to be one of the oldest suktas. Actually.
Oldest suktas, exactly. So with this, what I want to say is, what is the value of knowing Shastras? I want an answer from all of you. What is the value of knowing Shastras? We don't seem to understand very clearly, right? If we don't understand, what is the value of knowing Shastras?
Shastras help us in inquiry, basically.
Okay, then what do we do with it?
That is the starting point for us to understand who is the Brahman.
Yes. Then what is the next? What are the next steps?
Next step is only self-realization. Only we can know how is the Brahman.
Definitely.
By reading books and scripture, we can get only hardly some 20 or 30% knowledge we can get. Remaining is all self-realization.
Yes,
So this is next step is only sadhana of some kind to understand Brahman. And different acharyas have given different sadhanas, methods. And the Bhagavad Gita gives karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga as sadhanas. Prapatti yoga is also one hidden inside the Bhagavad Gita. So just wanted to mention, hope this class was of some use.
it is.
I have a question.
Useful.
Are we using the Shastras as an hypothesis? And if the hypothesis is wrong, then our conclusion will also be wrong.
It's not like a hypothesis. How do you define hypothesis? What is a hypothesis?
Something which is a standard, like a guru has told us something, and then we take that as a
hypothesis is something that is disprovable, actually.
Yeah, that is disprovable. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. I got it.
And Shastras, we never said that Shastras are disprovable. Shastras are realizations. Okay, now let's rewind our thoughts back to the first lecture I gave in the introduction to the 14 Vidyasthanas. What did we say Vedas came from? How did Vedas come to us?
Realizations of the rishis.
Realization of the rishis. They are mantra drashtaraha. They went to the fourth state, Turyavastha, and realized reality, realized Satya. It is not a bunch of shlokas which some old rishi cooked it up. No.
So truisms, actually,
What did you say?
Truisms, they call it. Truism, yeah, they call it.
Okay. So the thing is, these are realizations of Brahman. They are not hypotheses. Te dhyana yoganugata apashyan. That's what the Shvetashvatara says. If we don't understand that these rishis' words are realization, there is no point in reading any of the Shastras. Because there are also some, what do you call, armchair philosopher sitting somewhere smoking a pipe and say, oh, this is reality. And if some other guy with a higher level of pot or some drugs in his pipe thinks about, oh, that is reality, then that is all speculations.
That is why in Siddhanta, we take the Shastras, the most important pramanam, rather than Pratyaksha Hanumanam, actually.
Yeah.
Aptavakyam pramanam.
Aptavakyam, that is Rishi Vakya itself is Aptavakya. That is why they say Rishi did not charge you money. They did not take $1,000 initiations from you. They did not give you discounts if more people sign up. They are truly the Rishi, the definition of Rishi. They had Trikala Avadhita Jnana. Past, present, future, they knew what it was. Because their minds were not polluted by Tamo Rajas Gunas. Vimala Chittas, they were. And they did not want anything from us. They wanted to give something to us. That is why today also we do Rishi Tarpana, saying the Rishi Rana. We always owe it to our Rishis.
So we can say that.
What did you say?
We can say that Shastras can be taken as an ultimate truth.
It is the ultimate truth experienced by the Rishis, and that's what they've given to us.
Okay, thank you.
Whether you believe it or not is totally up to you. And obviously, everybody will have their own doubts because they don't understand what it is. Unless they realize, they will always take it for only faith value, right? I'm not finding fault with anyone here. Just because of some age-old Shastras were given to us, how do we say it is true? Unless we realize. That is why the Rishis say, you have to realize.
Sir?
And how do we realize? That is the problem.
That is chapter 2.
By some kind of sadhana.
That is what Bhagavad Gita talks about, right? We already went through 5 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. So the thing is, Shruti vipratipannate yadastasyati nischala samadhu achala buddhi tada yogam avapsyasi. When you analyze the Shrutis, after hearing from Acharyas, when you clearly know, and when everything stays in your mind calmly, you will get the first vision of Jivatma. And then the realization starts. So first Jivatma Sakshatkara have to be done. Then go further and Sthita Prajna. Then it goes through different Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. All these things have to give you realization.
Sir?
Krishna,
Sir?
some
Hello?
comments
Sir,
on this.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Sir, I have a doubt, sir. Actually, you said, just I want one clarity. You said Ramanuja Acharya told that in state of Pralaya, someone is not able to identify that. You said no. That context I did not understand clearly.
No. Karanavastha, no differentiation can be understood in Karanavastha. That's what the Shastras say.
Why, sir?
That's
What
all.
is the reason? Differentiation
What?
we can do. Why can't we differentiate in Karanavastha? That I did not understand.
Because it's beyond our thought. That is non-definable.
No, usually
Nothing
in
is
science, matter we can easily separate, no, sir.
No, even Big Bang theory fails in the Karanavastha. your mathematical equations, scientific equations, everything fail in Big Bang when the time is equal to 0. How do you say it's very well known? It's not known. So science has the same problem.
Because when you mix dissolved sugar in water, you get dissolved. No? Then you get.
No, I don't think you are very audible. Your speaker, everything is far away. Something is happening.
Net connectivity is very.
So no. Your this water example and all will not work. You talk only with the Big Bang theory. Time is equal to 0. Talk from that point of view.
Okay.
There, your science will fail. Even the scientists agree that the equations fail. It is not understood.
I have another question. Given that Sakaletara Vilakshana, Brahman is Sakaletara Vilakshana, as Bhagavad Ramanuja says, to what extent this distinction among Nimitta Karana, Upadara Karana, and Sahakari Karana is important actually to this Dantam, Vishtadvaita
Siddhanta. See, we got to understand this Vedanta talk is only for logical understanding initially phase 1, right? Phase 1 is what? First we have to do Vedadhyayana, understand the Vedic Swaras exactly, the Shiksha, Chandas and all those things we have to understand. The second thing is Manana, understand the meaning of Vedic injunctions and clearly understand Manana. What we are doing is Manana. To understand Nimitta Karana, Upadana Karana and Asahakari Karana and all these things, we are doing Manana to understand some value, some ideology about this Brahman who is not easily understandable, but we want to get some quick overview of it, understanding of it. That is known as Manana. After this Manana, what should we do? What is the next step?
Practice.
Nididhyasana.
Nididhyasana. Dhyana is important after this. Because once to get to this level, finally what? They should have realized that there is no other way. All the karmas will give me only limited fruits. To get unlimited fruit of moksha, I have to seek Brahman. So knowing Brahman, contemplating on the Shastra Vakyas, finally meditation on Brahman is important. So that is the next step. So these are all like steps towards the right spiritual goal.
So the conclusion is that Brahman as the cause is not clearly understandable. That is what
Cause is not understandable. The causal state is not at all understandable, not in any system of thought, including Advaita, including any system of thought. Vedanta does not, the Vedanta statements are so powerful, Nasadiya statements are so powerful, the causal state is inexplicable.
Sorry, I think the question was, is Brahman as causal state is not understandable?
Brahman as cause is also not understandable, yes.
But if Brahman as cause is not understandable, how can we say Brahman as the Upadana Karana? You're just negating the very first point.
No. Not understandable fully. Brahman has to be the material cause because there is no other cause other than Brahman. See, now we got to understand where we are coming from. We are restricted by the Shruti Vakyas. In this slide, I did not mention many of the Shruti Vakyas. I talked about it while we talked. But really speaking, I should have mentioned a lot of Shruti Vakyas. Shruti Vakyas are our guidelines. Using that, we can know something about Brahman. That something includes Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanatva, which is very clearly indicated in the Shruti Vakyas. So something is known, not completely, that's all.
Krishna.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, related to this Sharira, Shariri Bhava, this thing, which Ramanuja takes as a solution, I have some comment.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, one thing is if you take Shankara related to this thing, Vivartavada, there actually what happens is Shankara actually gives prominence to this Abheda Shruti. And he explains away both the Veda Shruti and then the Kataka Shrutis. So he gives
Correct.
prominence to Abheda. So
No
here,
question, yes.
Ramanuja, what he does is he takes the solution from the Shastra itself, from the Kataka Shruti, and tries to reconcile this thing, Abheda and Veda. That is what we know.
Yes, yes.
So this is one fact, that the solution which Ramanuja gives is coming from the Shastra itself.
Yes. Yes.
This is one point. This is one point related to the Sharira concept. And the other other thing is in Vedartha Sangraha, when he defines Abheda. When he defines Abheda, he uses that Sarva Sharirataya Sarva Prakaram Brahmaiva Avasthitam iti Abhedaha Samarthitaha.
Correct.
So he defines the Abheda in a very unique way, not like the way Shankara defines, like Jiva Brahma na Paraha. He doesn't define it like that. Abheda is defined in the terms of Prakara and Prakari and Sharira and Shariri.
True, true. See, that is not a very easily understandable issue also. When you say in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, Sharira and Shariri is always different. The Sharira gets burnt, Sharira gets killed, not the Shariri. The Jivatma is never get killed. You make so much of difference between Sharira, Shariri. How do you do Samarthana as Abheda using Sharira, Shariri, Bhavena, Abheda, Samarthita, just because you say the sentence? Is that sentence understandable?
No. That's a different. That's a different issue. What I'm trying to tell is, I'm just trying to tell the facts here. One thing is he uses that Kataka Shrutis to solve the he reconciles Abheda and Veda. That is one way of why he uses it as a solution.
See, one thing both of us agree that Ramanujacharya is closer to the Shrutis. And that is very understandable, because Shankaracharya here and there goes out of the Shruti, where he uses the analogy of Rajusappa, which is not mentioned in the Sutras or in the Bhagavad Gita or in the main Shrutis. Okay?
No, why I'm telling about this definition of Abheda is, this definition of Abheda given by Ramanuja, this might become useful in solving all the problems from his point of view. Because he used
at least some problems, right? The thing is, the causal state is still inexplicable, but the rest is Sharira Shariri Bhava is used to do the Samarthana. It's a logical construct. See, you got to understand that logically, many people may agree with this viewpoint, but there is a difference between logic and realization of truth. We have to understand. Only when we realize the truth, we will know what exactly it is.
No, that is true. But until then, to get to that, there has to be to some extent, there has to be some logic.
Agreed. No questions. Agreed. What you say, we agree. Yeah.
Yes.
What is it? So, there's some chat box showing up. What is it? From the others from the TMK study group may have not have the link. Oh, really? What can we do? I told that I will only put it in the Bhagavad Gita channel. I will not put it in any other channel.
Namaste, sir. This is Prashant here.
Yeah.
So actually, this I had put it at the start of the presentation. Maybe we couldn't see it, and in between I couldn't remind you about it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe most of them in TMK study class, they may not have access. They may not have the link.
Okay. See, I did not send it to TMK because I thought that we were going to only put it in the Bhagavad Gita channel. Yeah,
because some of them are not in this BG class group.
What to do? I forgot. I should have put at least the YouTube link in the TMK channel, but that was not my purpose, because tomorrow morning, our TMK study group is clearly on Saturday morning and Sunday morning. We're not doing it on the Bhagavad Gita day. Oh, by the way, I have to stop this class because I'm going to get into another meeting in about 15 minutes. It's a very important meeting I have to get to. Let me stop the class now today. Unfortunately, I have to go. We will talk about it. Think about your questions. Keep it in your mind. Hope this session was of some use.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was. Thank you. It was good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.